Hey folks, so today real quick I'm going to show you how to make a sourdough starter the easy way, the way I did it, Triple H Ranch style. Now some of the purists out there would certainly not agree with what I'm doing, but I'm going to tell you it works well. It'll get you it'll get you having a starter that you can use much quicker, and you won't be able to tell the difference. And I've had my starters now for several months, and they make fantastic bread. So anyways, to get started, what you're going to need is, and I've already pre-measured everything out, 100 grams of flour. Now I use whole wheat organic flour. I think it's important to use a whole grain flour, and the wheat seems to work very well. So I use it's 100% whole grain, whole wheat flour. 100 grams of that, an equal amount, 100 grams of room temperature water, and then I use a half a teaspoon of instant yeast. And so I also think it's important to get yourself a digital scale. I think that measuring things out and when you can, being very consistent just gives you a better product all the time. So all you're going to do is take a large mason jar or any other container. You can even use a plastic container, and you're going to put the flour in there. Try not to spill it. Okay, so you have your flour. I'm going to move the scale out of the way. So you have your 100 grams of flour. I'm going to put this half a teaspoon of instant yeast in there. Give it a quick stir. And then I'm going to add the 100 grams of water. It's also 100 milliliters of water. Fun fact, a gram of water is equal to a milliliter of water.
By sheer coincidence.
So I'm going to add that. And I'm going to stir this until everything has been absorbed. So now you have the beginnings of a starter. I'm going to put the lid on very loose. So, okay, so it's not tight. And I'm going to set that in a, in a warm place. Doesn't have to, you don't have to take it outside, but just in a place where there's not a draft on it. And I usually set mine up, over the sink or somewhere. But anyways, you're going to let that sit for 24 hours.
The next morning.
Okay, so it's been 24 hours. As you remember, yesterday what we did was we put in 100 grams of flour and 100 grams or 100 milliliters of water. We also put a half a teaspoon of instant yeast in here, and that was, as I said, just a one-time thing, and that just kickstarts the process. And as you can see, we've already got an active starter. Now it went higher, but it's already starting to come down a little bit. So today what we're going to do is we're going to feed it. And the way we feed it is we're going to remove remove about half of it. So we know that we put in 100 grams of flour and 100 grams of water, so there's 200 grams of mass in there. So if we remove 100 grams, then we'll be there. So that'll be half. So I'm going to put it on a scale, and I know from the scale, I can just remove until I see it 100 grams less than what it weighed.
Eventually.
There we go. So we've removed half of what was in the jar. And as you can see, it's a little fluffy. It's not something you would want to use in bread yet. So now we're going to feed it. So we've taken half of it out. So now there should be 100 grams of starter in here because we took 100 out. So to that, I'm going to add 50 grams of flour. I already pre-measured it. And 50 grams of water. Okay? No yeast. We're not ever going to put yeast in it again. Okay? That was just to get it going. We're going to give this a good stir to make sure all the flour and water are well absorbed.
A few moments later.
And put the lid on loosely. Okay? And again, store this in a warm location out of the draft. So you're going to repeat this process every day where you take out 100 grams of starter and replace it with 100 grams of food, which is 50 grams flour, 50 grams water. And you're just going to do that each day. Okay? After about a week, you should really see this thing becoming very active, and you could use it in a bread recipe at that point. And the great thing is that with time, the starter does become, I think, even better as it matures and it gets several weeks old or several months old. It seems to mature, and it becomes a little more pungent, a little more fragrant, and it's good. So I hope you enjoyed the video. It is making the sourdough bread is a fantastic thing. You know, for example, last night I made, we were having soup for dinner, and so I made these little sourdough rolls. Now these were not a 2-day thing, these were a same-day bread, and they came out fantastic. I'll show you the inside. This is what the crumb looks like inside. And very soft, fantastic tasting bread. There's a lot you can do with sourdough. You can make pizza dough with it, anything else. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.